Thank you very much for being here today on this important day. My name is Ilan Sinelnikov, and I'm the president and founder of Students Supporting Israel. Now, of course, I'll start. Thank you. And of course, I'll start by saying that I wish we would be here on the better occasions, because sadly enough, we're not meeting here when things are good in Israel. We're actually meeting here when things got escalated, and as the news came in right now that Israel probably entering into Gaza with the ground forces. So I wish, and of course I pray for all the soldiers that things will be a little bit better and we will be here in a better day. But now we're here in front of the Minnesota State Capitol, and it's very important that we showed up, because I work with students. In Students Supporting Israel, we work with students all the time for over 9 years. We started here at the University of Minnesota, and some stuff that we see nowadays is that students say that they feel afraid. They feel afraid to speak up sometimes. They feel afraid that if they're going to speak up for Israel, they're going to be attacked. They're going to be even facing some sort of anti-Semitism. And it's important, and we always tell in Students Supporting Israel, we tell those students that they must speak up no matter what. No matter what. It doesn't matter if we are having here 100 people or 50 people or even a single person. But every single person that can speak up for the state of Israel, that can speak up for our families and our friends out there, must do it. It's our duty. Now, I spoke to my cousin, Tal. He lives in the city of Ashdod. So my family is in the city of Ashdod. It is currently under attack big time. And I spoke to Tal about 2 days ago on WhatsApp, and he messaged me and he said, "Hey Ilan, how can I help you?" So I said it right away. I'm like, "Can you send me some videos from some students at the high school of yours, sophomores, juniors, that's going to share with us what is going on?" And we got some videos he sent us. We've been posting on social media. But about 2 days later, which is today, I realized, how come Tal from Israel, that is currently under attack, messaging me here in Minnesota? How can he help me? My question is, how can we help them? How can we help our families in Israel? How can we help our friends that are running to the bomb shelter, that don't have enough time to even think which child they need to grab first to the bomb shelter, or who they need to grab first in order to go there? So how can we help them? And our biggest help to them is by showing up. That's simple, plain and simple, showing up. And again, it doesn't matter the numbers. It just matters that we came out here and we showed up and we showed our support to the state of Israel. Now, of course, we know that it's not always easy to support the state of Israel. A lot of students messaging me with another thing. They say, we don't want to get political. Okay? What we're doing right here, right now, it is not political. It's an obligation to do what we do right here. Because I'm sure that in the crowd we have people from all political beliefs and from all different backgrounds and people that speak different languages. And this is not political. Supporting Israel, it's our duty, as for me as an Israeli American, for many of you here as Americans, and also for the Jewish community and our allies that are here today. Everyone needs to be here to support Israel. It has nothing to do with politics, because when Hamas is firing 1,600 rockets into Israel, it's not a political statement to say that Israel has the right to protect itself. It is not a political statement to say it. So this is why we are here today. And I know that sometimes, and I'll finish with this, sometimes it feels like we're by ourselves. It might feel that we're outnumbered. It feels alone sometimes. And sometimes when we do our stuff, it feels like the entire world is against us. But we are the most privileged and the best generation of the Jewish people that lived in this world in 2000s of years. In thousands of years, I mean. Okay? Because Jewish people over 70 years ago, for them it was much worse. So the minimum that we can do here when we have the state of Israel, it's to speak up for that state. Because if we're not going to do it, no one's going to do it. Enanili miri. That's what was said by Rabbi Hillel. So that's why we're here. And I would like to invite also to the stage Valeria, Chazin, who's the president of the board of directors of Students Supporting Israel, to say a few words as well. So thank you everyone for showing up, and thank you for being here. And it seems like more people are coming over here, so we're happy to see them all.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. You know, being here, for me, it's not just an obligation, like Ilan said, it's very personal, because while I live here, a lot of my family members, cousins, good friends, I grew up in Israel, they all are still there. And while we are speaking here, they need to run for their safe spaces or the bomb shelters, hearing the voice of the sirens there in Israel, and over 1,500 rockets, last I checked this morning, were fired from the Gaza Strip on the state of Israel, which is an unprecedented attack by a terrorist, an organized terrorist organization, on a sovereign Jewish state, on the sovereign state of Israel. And I don't think that any other state would have be quiet, facing such an attack. Now, this morning I actually remembered the words. It's like a very short note of an Israeli writer and a poet. His name is Tzur Ehrlich, and I saw it just around Independence Day. It was just about 2 weeks ago, and he has a poem where he says, I'll translate it from Hebrew. It's a very literal translation, but it goes something along these lines, that in Israel there are 2 memorial days just 2 weeks apart to remind us about what is the cost of having a Jewish state and what is the cost of living without one, right? So he's referring to the fact that in Israel, the Holocaust Remembrance Day is being noted just 1 week before the Remembrance Day for the fallen soldiers of Israel and those who were falling in terrorist attacks. And we all understand from this poem that there is a huge price of having the state of Israel, the price of having constant wars. We're in a tough neighborhood in the Middle East, having terror attacks, and kind of needing to constantly prove to the world that it's legitimate to have one state that will be designated as the Jewish state. Because everybody, I think, who knows the Jewish history knows that the cost of not having one is much, much, much higher. And therefore, it is our duty here, just like Ilan said, to basically show up and stand up and not be afraid to voice the support for the state of Israel, basically for its right to defend itself, the right to have a sovereign state that can defend its own citizens against the terror organization Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and all the other organizations that actually do not even recognize Israel's right to exist. And this is in their charter. They're not even shy about this. It's very open. So when they say from the river to the sea, they want to have Israel free, we all know what it means, free from the state of Israel's existence. But we're here to show our support actually right here in the state capital, hopefully to have the elected officials, the politicians, no matter from which party alignment they are, to support the state of Israel, right? We're here to call on elected officials, on leaders in the community, to support the state of Israel, to voice this support, and we'll be here to remind this to them. And a lot of people, by the way, messaged me this morning in the past few days privately saying, kind of what Ilan said too, saying that we don't know what to do, we're a little bit afraid to speak up. So everyone here who's here is not afraid to show up, speak up, help your friends who might be shy from saying this too, to be open about it. It's important we be vocal about the support. Doesn't matter what your opinion is about different issues. I think we are here all united in our support to the state of Israel. So hopefully better days will come very, very soon. And I just want I want to invite to the stage Rabbi Yossi Bandit and to lead us in a prayer for Israel, for the state of Israel. Thank you, Rabbi.